How y'all doing? I was lost, but you knew where to find me. I was hungry, you were bread for my soul. I was thirsty, and you gave living water. You were my shelter when I had no place to go. That's why sometimes I just want to praise you. Sometimes just to speak your name. Sometimes I just want to thank you without asking you for a thing. And sometimes I lift my hand to you. Oh, but sometimes all I do is cry. Everything I owe to you, Lord, and Calvary's the reason why. When I think of the love that you've given, Lord, when I think about the price that you paid just for me, then the trials here on earth, they just seem like nothing when they're compared to dark Calvary. That's why sometimes I just want to praise you. Sometimes just to speak your name. Sometimes I just want to thank you without asking you for a thing. But sometimes I lift my hand to you. Oh, but sometimes all I do is cry. Everything that I have, I owe to you, Lord, and Calvary's the reason why. Everything that I have, I owe to you, Lord, and Calvary's the reason why.
Mr. Rick Whitehead. And now, y'all give it up for Miss Beth Monroe.
I'm good?
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Hi, guys. I'm so glad to be here tonight. This is such a treat for me. First of all, I just want to say I don't know how you made the choice of which line to get in when you got your food. That was a bit overwhelming, and I had no idea that a turkey signed my business license. I mean, I was like, I know that guy. Why do I know that guy? Oh, he's been signing the business licenses for a minute. So that's fantastic. And then I guess, is Miss Wiggly here? And my English teacher's here from 9th grade. So I say that, Miss Broadway, but she was Miss Wiggly to me. So it's such a treat, such a small world. We've made all kind of connections tonight, even with Ryan and I. And I know in his intro, he shared that the Shells, who were a mentor family to me when I was in high school, shared that I had a story to share. And I am thrilled about that. But I'm just going to start from the beginning, and we'll see where we go. But no, my hope is I've had some interesting adventures for sure that I'd love to share with you. But my hope is that you'll just see the thread of God's hand in that, and where he's led us and allowed me to have impact and allowed me to be influenced and really positioned us to be geographically where we needed to be at certain times in our lives. Because I think it just shows so much purpose and intent in his design. And even just how he crafted me, the skills that he gave me and the heart that he gave me for what I wanted to do in my career actually positioned us to do a lot more. Is that too staticky? Is that better? Okay. Okay, so like he said, I'm from Huntsville. I grew up there in the Grissom feeder pattern and really had a love for math and science growing up, but also really loved the fine arts. So I was part of dance and theater and choir and had just this really eclectic blend of interest. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to do when I went off to school, I wanted to do something creative with my love for math and science. But I'll back up a little bit because I want to do a parallel of my faith journey as well, so that you can just, again, see how God's used so many of these things in my life. So I was raised Catholic and was just very in tune with a very ritualistic relationship with the Lord. But in 6th grade in youth, I see you guys all on that back long table. I share this with you because if you've been raised in the church and in a church that really teaches you the gospel really clearly, it's hard to remember that some people don't know that with clarity. Some of it's covered in ritual, and it's hard to get to that truth. And I went to youth group with some friends in 6th grade, started going with them, and then went to camp with them. And at camp, when the gospel was presented, it was definitely one of those moments. We talk about the good news of the Lord. And it was one of those moments that was incredible. I remember saying to them, why haven't y'all told me this? Why haven't you told me? And we were 12, that we were old enough that we would have been having those conversations or could have been. So our youth, I just encourage you to always be bold in your faith because that's what turned my heart towards the Lord at that age and really set me on a trajectory for, I think, how he's been able to use me throughout my life, and I'm honored to be in that role for him. So we continued at the Catholic Church until I was in high school, and then my parents actually switched to the church that I was going to the youth group with because they saw such a change, is what they've shared with me, and wanted to be aligned behind that as a family and wanted us to be together as a family. So it really actually changed our entire family and where we went to church just by that one opportunity, that one invitation that I received from a friend in 6th grade. So that back to pursuing my college career, I knew I wanted to work for Disney. I decided the best way to combine my creative and my technical or math and science aptitude was to pursue a job with Disney Parks and Resorts. So I decided I was going to be a computer engineer. That's what I was going to do because they were building animatronics and they were going into all these technological areas, and I thought, that's what they need. That's what they need me to be. So that's what I'll be. And when I got to Auburn, I was like, oh, this is terrible. These people don't talk. I'm sitting in a computer lab with no windows. Now, if you are a computer engineer, we need you. And I'm glad you are you. But it was not for me. So I learned that lesson really quickly, that to really be sensitive to how I was gifted and what I was good at. In that same year, I was able to be part of an intro to engineering class, and they presented to us about industrial engineering, which I had never heard of. But their entire presentation I'm so sorry, I feel like it keeps staticking, I apologize, was about Disney and about what industrial engineers did at Disney. So it was just like, oh, this is my heart, this is where I want to be, and this is the degree to do it. So I followed that advisor right back to his office, changed my degree, and that was my new goal moving forward. So thankfully, after much pursuit and conversation with Disney throughout my time at Auburn, I was able to go straight from Auburn to Orlando and start with Walt Disney Parks and Resorts as an engineer right out of school. My sweet husband, Jay, and I met left that part out, but I'll bring him along now in the journey. Third lane, see if y'all can keep up with me. Faith, career, and family. So Jay and I met in second grade at Weatherly, and then went to school together all throughout school, but didn't start dating until we got to college. It was one of those things where we really realized, oh man, that was my person, and we were at separate schools. He was at Mississippi State. So at our senior year of college, we got engaged, and then got married, moved to Orlando. I was in my dream job. I was going to Walt Disney World every day. I don't know if I've got a Mickey. Yeah, there's me and Dopey. So this is to keep the kids entertained. One of the kids today, I spoke earlier. Poor Rick Roden's done with my voice today. He's heard me speak 3 times. But I told the kids earlier, they said, what's the best part at working at Disney? And I said, well, I'd be at my desk. My office was right behind Tower of Terror. And if you're having one of those days where it's like, I just can't figure this out, or I'm just tired, I need to wake up, I mean, you go ride Tower of Terror, you're good. That's like better than, 2 coffees. So that was my favorite part, is that I was so close to the product and could jump out there and be right with it and remember my why, right? Remember why I wanted to be there. But as we were there, for that first year, my husband had interned with a youth group in Huntsville when we were in college, and we had done an adventure together doing Campus Crusade. Their headquarters are in Orlando, so we did a summer with them, and he just really had a heart for ministry, and I had really always seen that and affirmed that in him. But he got his degree in IT because, that was the practical thing to do according to his parents, so that's what he did. So he was trying to do his IT job and really decided he wanted to pursue ministry. He was doing it for free. He was going after, he worked at the school doing IT, and then he would go afterwards to First Baptist Orlando, which we called Six Flags Over Jesus. If you've ever been there, it's very big. And the parking lots are named by the fruits of the Spirit. Just like at Disney, you go to the Mickey parking lot, you go peace, joy, happiness. So big church. So he would go volunteer there. And we knew that they would, they were encouraging him, and they were offering to pay for his seminary. So we were like, this is perfect. This is this is the path. So he decided to go work for them and pursue this seminary opportunity. And in getting his medical release form signed for seminary, he answered a few questions. I'm so sorry. I'm just going to hold this. He answered a few questions throughout the questionnaire that led the doctor to say, we should probably check this out. We had been married maybe a year. We were 23 and 24. And so he went in and he got a CT scan. And they said, yeah, it looks like you got a little cyst in your head. His symptoms were headaches in one section, and then his cousin had just passed away from a brain tumor. So it was the combination of some family history, and you're telling me you're having chronic headaches. Let's just take a look. So they believed it was a cyst. We had a big trip planned. They said they wanted to follow up with an MRI, so we went ahead and did that. But then we went on our trip. We thought, okay, we're good. We're going to go on our trip. And come to find out, he had a 100% choriocarcinoma brain tumor in the pineal region of his brain. This is a hard one to tell. He's still with us, just to be clear. He's a miracle, but it does still just always bring me to this place, and my emotion is from gratitude. So we were in Orlando, and we were exactly where we needed to be because I had this dream to work for Mickey Mouse, right? We would not have had the doctor. We had a very eclectic, Greek, fun doctor who was willing to try anything, who was Jay's primary care. He was the neuro-oncologist that took care of him through that journey. And he's gone on to use, if you've ever seen the news, he uses scorpion venom and all these cool things to fight cancer. And I remember, told me that based on what he knew, which this was a very rare cancer, that he had probably about an 8% chance to live. So less than 10%. And, I was 23, my parents were 12 hours away. I was, like, what is happening? But God carried us on that journey. And I apologize, but he provided this incredible surgeon who, Jay's tumor was a bleeding tumor, which creates a lot of complications, as you can imagine, in the brain, blood on the brain. And we had a surgeon who was humble enough to say, I can't do this surgery, but I went to school with a buddy who specializes in this. And guess where he was, y'all? South Florida, like 4 hours away, that we could get to. We were in a very emergent state. And so we were able to get to this surgeon who miraculously was able to take that tumor out. Praise the Lord, right? And, yeah. Let me turn this on. You want me to switch? Am I switching? Or am I going like, echo? He's not making eye contact. We're going to go here. Is that better, Ryan? Okay. Thank you. That was a nice little break for the emotion. But that's just that first moment of seeing God's hand. Every decision we had to make, I was so young. Every decision was made for me. They would say, we got to do this or he's not going to make it. We got to do this or he's not going to make it. And I said, well, then do it. Go right ahead. So we spent about 45 days in the ICU and in the hospitals. And I truly believe it was Satan's attempt to stop what became a very fruitful ministry for my husband. He is probably has the most eternal perspective of any person that I know, and I live with him. And y'all know, the real person when you live with them. But his perspective on everything is just very eternal and very much, does this matter? Is this something kingdom worthy to be stressed over, to spend money on, to think about? So I really appreciate that leadership that he has in my life. And I apologize, he wanted to be here tonight, but couldn't be here. So we're to this point in the journey. So he survived. He went through chemo radiation and went on to be in ministry and served as a student minister and a children's minister for about 15 years, the whole time I was at Disney. And I had some incredible opportunities as my career advanced. I had been at Disney a year as well, maybe a little over. And that opportunity allowed me to create a very firm foundation of my faith, and where everyone there knew what I believed and how God had worked in my life. And it gave me just such an awesome, as a younger engineer, it gave me an awesome opportunity, and I became like counselor. I wasn't the smartest person in the room ever, but a lot of people came to me when they were struggling and when they wanted advice and perspective. And so it gave me that platform to just really share my faith. And then I got to do some really, really neat things. I talked to these sweet girls this morning about just collaboration and working with people, and I was using all the right business words, but really it's about caring for people, right? Just caring for people. And I think in doing that, opportunities were open for me. I received the Lifetime Achievement Award at Disney. Less than 1% of cast members receive it, and it's really about business results and leadership. And I was in my 5th year. I was a peon engineer, at the bottom, but I knew how to work with people and care for people. And I think that's been something that God's gifted me with, that I'm glad I've been able to use in my career. I decided to do something a little out of the box at Disney and try out to be the Walt Disney World ambassador. And when I say out of the box, it's because the engineers never did that. That was for the entertainment people and the park operations people that were like, everybody in front of the camera. So my team laughed at me and they were like, don't do that, Beth. Nobody does that. But I was like, I'm going to try. I think it'll be great. And it was a temporary assignment for a year if I got it, that, you represent the company, the media, and all the big events. So as I kept making each cut, they got a little bit more excited. They're like, oh,
oh, you could really be this. You could do this. So I was selected as a finalist. Is she telling me something? No? Okay. I thought she was telling me. I thought it was microphone related. I was selected as a finalist. I did not get it, but my whole team was there with like these enormous heads. Beth heads. I mean, from making fun of me to like spending I don't know how many days cutting my head out of styrofoam. So I share that part of my story just to say, from that, I was given the opportunity to lead the Shanghai Disneyland design team for industrial engineering, which I was thrilled to be selected for that. I started that in 2006, and I was one of 20 on the first design team. We were meeting with the government, negotiating the deal, and looking at, my job was really to look at the capacity for the park. So think about how many people from China would come to Disney. We didn't know, we had to do all this math and this big model to figure out how many would come and what days would they come. So I became an expert on the Chinese calendar. I knew when they were in school, out of school, holidays, how they moved, how they spent their time. And we did some predictive modeling on that. So then we grew from there and did all the design around that initial work that we started. But that's part of this story because it allowed us entry into that country with Disney. And we really had sought out, how we could do ministry while we were there as well. And asked a lot of people, and so many people kept recommending the same church. Well, Shanghai is the second biggest city in the entire world. Very, very big, hours from one end of the city to the other. And when we were assigned our housing from Disney, guess where that church was? 2 blocks. 2 blocks. So we could walk there, Jay could be involved. More than I was. We all went, but he was able to be involved there and do ministry without having to worry about visa issues or anything like that. So we had a great opportunity there. We had a wonderful team. I remember sitting at dinner with the leader that I was training to lead the industrial engineering team in China, and he had all these questions. He's like, what is this that you, tell me about God. Like, why do y'all believe that? We believe in the government. Why do you believe in God? And it just to hear someone so hungry for what we get to just believe, right? And I sat there and I thought, okay, are there cameras? Are there microphones? It was overwhelming to think what could go wrong. But I thought, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. So I got to share the gospel with him. I've kept in touch with him for lots and lots of years, and several of the folks that I trained there. So I saw it as much more than opening a theme park and bringing some magic to a new country. I think we really got to bring some spirit as well, which was really exciting. So coming back from there, I forgot my children. We do have 3 of them. They were born before we went to China. So we took a 3, 5, and 6-year-old with us to China, which my sweet husband, I worked 6 a.m. to midnight sometimes. So he would send me pictures of him with a 3-year-old strapped on him. If y'all have ever worn a baby, like a 3-year-old is like they're twins. That's not small to walk around a city. And then a double stroller because he couldn't do a wide stroller because that's not how things work in China. So you had to be a single file person. And so he would just walk along, and he'd come to the park for the day if he needed to see me, just to like a breather. And he would tell me, I'm at Disney Town, and I'd walk out there. He'd be walking in a circle. Because if he stopped, this is my team, and there's the family. If he stopped, it was paparazzi. Because you see they're all little blonde-headed-ish, 3 children. The fact that there were 3 and that they did not look like them was a big deal. So he had to walk in a circle until I got to him and could get him backstage. And then we would engage sometimes, but sometimes it was overwhelming for the kids. So this is my team. I told you about Charles is second from the left in the back. That was the leader that straight up asked me about God. And then several of the others, Malik on the far right, we spent a lot of time with him and his wife and got to share the gospel with them as well. But this is the team I led, several expats, and then several of our local engineers, opening the biggest park that Disney's ever built. So it was exciting. But coming back from that, with our children, we wanted to be back closer to home and to grandparents. And my husband got an opportunity to interim at Mount Zion out in Monroe. So we came back for that opportunity. I worked remotely for Disney, but y'all, this was before COVID. So remote was not a thing. They would forget about me all the time. I was like, hello, I'm in the meeting. Please call me. So it wasn't exactly the same. And as I shared with the girls this morning, my heart is for operations and people. So I was so grateful that they valued me enough to keep me on board remotely. But I was like, I gotta do something that has community impact and that feels community centric. So I started to pursue the opportunity with Chick-fil-A. And didn't know anything about it. God just nudged my heart. I had interviewed with them out of college for a corporate position, and I was very impressed with what I saw and what the company stood for, the values, and I felt like we were in a place in our life where we had an opportunity to do a lot of ministry, and I wanted to be aligned with a company that I could share values with so that I could care for my team, right? So we pursued that opportunity and got our first Chick-fil-A. I don't know what's up here now. Yep. In 2019, we had the Parkway Place Mall in Huntsville. So note that year, 2019. Yes. So we got it in March. I had worked in all kinds of operations at Disney as an engineer, right? I would go in and say, if you'll just do this, it'll make it better. And then I would leave. But I had never run a restaurant. I'm just being completely honest. Somehow Chick-fil-A, again, the Lord's doors opened, decided it would be a good idea. And so I walked into my Chick-fil-A the first day having never, ever worked at a restaurant. And thankfully had a great team there that I got to take over. And I learned quickly and found it was kind of an engineer's playground. It's lots of systems and processes and making things efficient and effective. And that I was really in business for myself, for myself, but not by myself. So Chick-fil-A was there to give me guidance, but they certainly did not get in my day-to-day, which was neat. So carrying on from there, COVID in the mall was something. And so I think what that season really illustrated for me more than anything was that I had ridden this career, and that even in my childhood, I mean, Miss Wiggly or Miss Broadway probably remembers this maybe about me. I was very achievement oriented. So I had realized when COVID hit and I couldn't control anything anymore, that I liked to be the girl who worked at Disney, and the girl who owned the Chick-fil-A, and the girl who, was prom queen, and the girl who was this and that and the other, and that was my identity. Like as much as I didn't want it to be, when I was broken down to the core of, I can't make this go away, like I can't fix this, I was still trying to scrap and make things work, but the Lord did use that in my life in a big way. And my sweet little boy told me one day that he said, Mom, it's like when you go to Chick-fil-A, it's a waterfall of stress. And when you come home, it hasn't dried up yet. And I thought, oh, he's very good with words, very good with words. But it kind of broke my heart because, I thought I went to this company because this was, this is this company that aligns with my values and everything. And I stand here to say they absolutely do. They took great care of me. But God used this season to just open my eyes that I had to find balance. And that I had to, for me, I had to store up my achievement treasures in heaven, not in what I could accomplish here on earth. So it has been a season of learning and refinement and remembering that, and just pouring into the team that I get the chance to do life with. Because I think there's nothing like spending 8, 10, 12, however many hours I end up spending at the restaurant with people that I wouldn't normally get to do life with. We've seen babies be born that wouldn't be born. We've seen just incredible testimony of faith and people finding like a place to call family, and not just from me. This is from this whole leadership team that I've developed. But it's hard work. It's really hard work. And I think there's a picture of like kind of what I have to think about every day. Is that one up, Ryan? And when I say hard work, not just for me, it's hard for my team. Very hard, yeah. So this is the illustration I use a lot when I'm talking with groups about kids, particularly about business ownership. So is anybody else a business owner? Probably several in here. Yeah. So you get this. Like I don't own 10 Chick-fil-A's and have a huge team of people under me that run them. I own Chick-fil-A Scottsboro, and I run it with my team of 4 executives that I've hired, right? So these are the things we've got to think about every single day. We don't have an HR department. We don't have an IT department. We don't have any of that. We do all of that in-house. So in doing that and challenging myself to stay purpose-driven, that's the season I'm in right now. And I just hope that that's an encouragement. I mean, for me, it's all about, again, storing up those treasures in heaven, but I don't struggle as much with the material. I struggle with the achievement and what that looks like. So that's where I'm at right now. And again, just wanted to share God's hand in our story. Jay, again, was sorry he couldn't be here tonight, and the children as well, but hope to get to see you guys at the restaurant or back at one of these events here as well. And yeah, that is what I had to share tonight. So let me just pray real quick. Do y'all mind? Let's just pray. We'll close it out. Father, I just thank you so much for the opportunity to gather and be one heart aligned for you. I just pray that we can all find our identity and our purpose in you, especially right now in this age of distraction. And when we're pulled in multiple directions, and success or achievement looks different than what you would have for us, Lord. I just thank you for your truths, and I thank you for what you've done for us and for your ultimate sacrifice so that we can sit with you one day in paradise. In your holy and precious name, amen.